Sharon and Levi Thompson are suing retreat owner Asher Griffin in the amount of $540. The Thompsons claim they were injured on the first day of their Kama Sutra retreat and say Mr. Griffin didn't instruct them safely.
Mr. and Mrs. Thompson, you're suing Mr. Griffin for $540 for negligence, for injuries that you suffered.
That's correct.
At one of his resorts. Is that right?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, how long y'all been married?
25 years.
Okay. You have any children?
Two.
Yeah, two.
Adult children?
Yes.
Okay.
We were recently empty nesters.
All right. So what is it that you do for a living?
I run a retreat that is meant to help individuals come closer together that might have lost the spark in their relationship.
Okay, so tell me what your background is for that.
I actually come from a family of folks that have been focusing on this art form and this type
What art form is this?
Kama Sutra.
Okay.
It's an Indian old ancient text that enlightens people with respect to eroticism, sensuality, and personal self-fulfillment.
Okay, so what have you done to train yourself as an expert in this?
I've studied the texts.
Right.
I've gone into the original Sanskrit.
Okay.
And my father was also a practitioner of this art, and
Okay.
I learned everything from him, really.
Okay, and how long have you been doing this?
Pretty much most of my life, since I was about 20 years old, yes.
Okay, so how did you find out about this defendant?
I did some research online. We
Okay.
originally we're going to take a class. We wanted to spice our love life up a little bit since the kids were gone.
All right, so did you have them sign any waiver, any contracts?
I actually do have a waiver that I brought with me.
Okay, let me see the waiver that they had to sign. Okay, but there was no contract.
There is a contract also, yes, but it's ultimately encompassed in that waiver.
All right, so you get there, and 3 to 5, we have group Kama Sutra classes. Okay, so what happens from 3 to 5, day one?
3 to 5, we sit together and I explain to them the philosophy behind.
Oh, how many other couples?
There's 7 couples total.
Okay, 14 people.
14 people.
Okay.
And I discuss the philosophy behind Kama Sutra, and then we
Okay.
talk about what's going to happen throughout the next 2 days.
Okay.
And then I sort of start to ease them into the process of getting comfortable around other people.
Right.
And then we go into the dinner after that.
Okay, so there was no, nobody was practicing the positions
Not-
that time.
yeah, it
So
happens at
how were
night.
you that first session, 3 to 5, day one?
It was great.
That went well.
We were enjoying it.
Okay, so then you had from 9 to 11, you had the night Kama Sutra class.
Indeed.
Okay, what went on there?
Well, that's when I actually have the participants start to get into the positions.
All right, so I guess this is where your first training starts. Is that right?
Yes.
That's correct.
Okay, so
And-
tell me about that night, the night Kama Sutra class.
So when we first got there, it was very lovely. It was dim lighted. There was candlelight. There were the mats available on the side.
Some incense.
Some incense. So we grabbed a mat, and there was quite a few positions that we did, about 3 before
Okay.
this
So
particular
how did
position.
you demonstrate the positions to them?
I have an associate that helps me.
Okay, so then what happened? Where did things go wrong here?
We got into a position that was difficult.
Okay, what position is that?
It's called the suspended union.
Let me
so
see
we
the
could show
picture of
you.
the position. This position?
Indeed, yes, that is the position.
I'm supporting her weight.
Right. You're supposed. I see that you're that from this that you're supposed to be able to support. Can anybody do this?
Only if they choose to do it.
Right.
And then if they realize that they are incapable of doing it, then they tend to not do it.
It became very
It
uncomfortable.
requires the man to support the entire body weight of the woman standing.
Correct. And they have the option not to do it. I tell
Right.
them
Right.
in advance,
Right.
this is a situation that could potentially land you.
I don't understand in a 3-day seminar, when this is day one, that we start with a difficult position like this. I mean, there's thousands thousands of positions, right?
And they get more advanced.
I understand, but we're day one in a 3-day event.
It's a complex art.
Coming up on Supreme Justice.
I lost control and I couldn't hold her weight anymore.
Right.
And we both honestly didn't know what to let go of first.
Right.
She fell backwards and I fell down on top of her on the
And
floor.
where were you when all that happened?
And later,
Okay, so what goes on with donkeys in Parker, Arizona?
Well, there's just a lot of donkeys.
Just wild donkeys?
Wild, yeah.
Really? So what is it that they were doing in your neighborhood?
closed captioning provided by Supreme Justice is back with the case of Sharon and Levi Thompson, who are suing Asher Griffin for negligence.
Some of these are pretty easy to do. From these pictures, these are pretty easy to do.
As the Thompsons explained, we did do more simple positions prior to the...
So what happened?
I had her suspended. I had her, she was, I was standing up and supporting her weight.
You were doing this.
Right, and,
Okay.
and my hands had her feet.
Right.
And her arms were around my neck.
Right.
But at some point, my arms started to shake and
Right.
my leg
Have you ever had
cramped
to
up.
hold her like that before?
Not with the feet, no.
Not to that extent, Your Honor. We're not prudes, but we hadn't done that before.
Okay. And so then what happened?
So I lost control and I couldn't hold her weight anymore.
Right.
And we both honestly didn't know what to let go of first.
Right.
She fell backwards and I fell down on top of her on the
And
floor.
where were you when all that happened?
I was on my way to help them because I had 6 other couples I was dealing with.
Right.
These
And
two,
what was your assistant doing? Was she helping?
She was also helping other couples. And these two were bickering the entire day.
They were bickering. No, I don't know about that day. We're talking about this time when this incident happened. Was there bickering going on with them?
Absolutely. I was explaining safety
We were not
precautions.
bickering. We were trying to figure out. We were talking to each other, trying to figure out
I
what
want
to
to
do.
ask, what were they bickering about?
Something to do with their children, something to do with the food, the room, the environment. There was always
Wait. You're saying that they're now finally there learning these positions, which they did 2 or 3 of them, you said, without a problem, but all of a sudden they start fighting about their children in the house and the food.
It had been building up throughout the night.
Right.
Other participants were noticing it.
Right.
We were trying to keep everything calm. We didn't want to address it directly because we didn't want to...
Why didn't you just say something to them? We need everybody's attention, please.
Because we're trying to set a particular mood that's calm.
Okay, but if they're not creating and being a part of that mood, why not say, folks, we all want to be on the same page. This is we're teaching you loving environment. We're trying to bring you closer together, not take you further apart. Did you ever say that?
I didn't want to embarrass
Okay,
them.
so no, you didn't say that.
I was going to say it after the class.
Okay.
And
Were
Your
you
Honor,
bickering?
We've been together for 25 years. We're just very blunt with each other.
Right. Were
and-
y'all bickering during the whole time?
No, we were trying to figure out how to do these things at our age.
Right.
We were very frustrated.
Yes.
Right.
And
And
we
we're in the middle. And we're in the middle of this extraordinary and challenging position.
Nobody put a gun to it.
Right.
What?
They had the option to not do it. I told the class, and they didn't hear me when I said, if this is something you cannot do, please do not do it.
Well, were you at all concerned about their age?
Absolutely.
Okay, so did you say that to them? When you're teaching them and showing them how to do it, you know, I'm a little concerned. Maybe you shouldn't do this because of your age. Did you say that?
No.
Well, I said it to the class. I didn't want to...
What did you say to the class? Let me hear what you said to the class.
If you are not comfortable based on any sort of physical inabilities to do this act, you should not do it. I didn't want to specify to them because I didn't want them to stand out as like the older couple.
Were you the oldest couple there?
Yes.
Yes.
There was a lot of younger couples there, which is why we assumed that they would come over and help us.
Right. Because
And
the
there
young
wasn't a-
folks didn't have a problem with it. Huh?
Well, there wasn't a problem until we got into it.
Right.
How could we make
how
that
do we-
decision
How do we get
before
out?
we got into it?
Right.
Yeah.
So then you got injured.
Yes.
Yes.
And what did
And
you
we
do?
couldn't get out of it.
Say what?
And then we couldn't get out of it.
Out of the position?
Yeah, that's why I was injured. We weren't sure what to do, and
So
then
did
I
you
fell.
help them out of the position?
I started coming towards him when I saw that his arms were shaking. At that point, I figured he would have put her down carefully prior to getting to that point.
Right.
But clearly, he was allowing himself to be strained.
Right.
And then eventually, he gave way, and I couldn't get there in time.
Right. But once they fell, did you help them to get...
Absolutely. I called 911 immediately.
Did you help them up?
Absolutely.
He helped you?
Yes.
Yeah,
Okay,
but
so-
I hurt my neck and my back, and I didn't want to move too much.
Right.
and
Did
so-
y'all go to the hospital?
Yes,
we did.
Both of you?
My whole weight was on top of her. She took the brunt of,
Right.
of both of
And that happened with the force of the fall.
Yeah.
Yes,
And
Your
I was
Honor.
actually told that I had to go through 12 classes of chiropractic to fix
Right.
my
I don't
back.
listen to what you were told unless somebody is out there to tell me. And that's not why you're suing. You're actually suing because you want your money back.
Yes.
That's correct.
You're
because
not
of the
suing for your
experience.
injuries.
No.
And why do you think you should get your money back?
We were only there a day, and the day that we were there, we didn't
It
feel...
was a horrible experience.
I understand. I question whether or not you have the training to be teaching what you're teaching people. And for day one of a 3-day event, that there's a lot of easy Kama Sutra positions from what I've been reading, and from even in these images, if these are even real positions, that they could have been doing day one so you could see what they were capable of learning. Because the bottom line wasn't to get that one position right. The bottom line was we were supposed to get closer. So there was a lot of easy stuff that they could have been doing to get closer. You should have known better. I'm ready to rule. Judgment for the plaintiffs in the amount of $540. Good luck
Thank
to
you,
you.
Your Honor.
Judge Karen has ruled in favor of the co-plaintiffs. The defendant is ordered to pay $540.
Go to someone who knows what they're doing if you're going to take Kama Sutra at our age.
I did ultimately bring them together, and that's what matters.